Now, the Wealth Protection Diva is a successful entrepreneur, business owner, and premier business strategist, president and CEO of Sage International Incorporated, and a national speaker, best-selling author, and motivational teacher of financial education, business development, and wealth protection strategies. The joys and frustrations of being a business owner. Her insights are motivating. Her frankness inspiring. Here is Cheri Hill.
The new gold rush has begun. This time, we can all be winners. Tesla's 5 million square foot battery plant being built at the Taormina Industrial Center has showcased the incredibly rich resources and potential of our region. A new migration of high-tech companies are descending on northern Nevada, both to supply services to Tesla, but also because TRI has finally been discovered as industry's next technology hub, but with unlimited real estate and infrastructure and without burdensome taxes and bureaucracy. The relocating companies require business services, training, and workforce development beyond current capacity. They also need best-in-class resources and services not previously available in northern Nevada. My guest today, Tom Taormina, is the Executive Director for the Center for Business Excellence, an organization looking to provide the infrastructure to help existing resources meet the challenges of the new Nevada business landscape while introducing world-class business tools and processes. Tom has a unique perspective from having worked with more than 600 companies in his 41-year career, bringing a rare talent for precision problem diagnosis and strategic thinking. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Cheri. Good to be with you again.
Many years, and I have always learned from you and just value everything you bring to the table. And we're going to talk a little bit about the 12 books you've written and certainly the involvement that you have and the excitement that's going on in northern Nevada right now. Someone who is dialed in and really as a strategic thinker, you see that there are some issues we're facing. And while everyone is all excited, the reality is if we can't meet demand, we're in trouble.
Well, first of all, I thrive on flattery, so thank you. I have to let your listeners know that we have been working together for many years, and your services that provided to my different groups have been invaluable. So
thank you.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. There are a number of us here in the region who have been senior consultants or senior business leaders for many, many years. And it's interesting that I've been able to bring this group together. Our passion and our understanding of what's going on is that all of a sudden Tesla has moved in and bring Panasonic with them. And they initially predicted 6,500 people for their gigafactory. But if you fast forward a little bit to the predictions being made by EDON, they're talking about 51,000 new jobs by 2019. Well, I don't think our region has ever dealt with those kinds of numbers before. I know they haven't. And so we've taken it on ourselves to talk with all of the different service agencies. So I went back out on the road again and sat down with my friends and said, okay, who's in charge of workforce development for Tesla? The answer seems to be everyone and no one. The promise that our governor made to Tesla and the others of a trained workforce, we believe needs some strategic direction. So the Center for Business Excellence has been launched. There's 14 of us on the board now, and we are asking to be the service providers for all of the companies that have an interest in workforce development.
I liked your statement that, everyone and no one, because if you went out to all these individual colleges, the university, the workforce development organizations, the economic development organizations, they all look at it as their little piece or part. And who is actually then codifying all of this and go, we all operating from the same sheet of music? Do we have a strategic plan? And why I know I can ask you this question is because that is your forte. Strategic planning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just me. In our cadre of folks, we've got our operations manager is the former program manager of the International Space Station. So he has a little bit of program management experience. I've been senior consultant to Dell Computer and Ford Motor Credit, and over the years, large-scale program management has become kind of what we all do. Bob Block is here also. Almost everyone is local, if you call Nevada local, but Bob Block has 200 patents. He's got an honorary PhD from the Sports Institute. He's on the Shanghai Board of Trade.
He's actually I've had lunch with him several times, and it's just fascinating to listen to his stories because they're almost unbelievable.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's just a representation of the whole group that we put together. And the other part of it is we're not looking for a job. At this point in our careers, we are looking to endow the region with all of the experiential data that we've got, the books we've written, and transfer knowledge to the rest of the community. It would be an absolute sin if we checked out of this world and kept all of the experiences we've had. I was on duty the night of Apollo 13. I lived through that. It's something I love to talk about because it says, if we can fix a spaceship 100,000 miles from Earth, your business problems can't be that bad.
Right. A little perspective, huh? So that's kind of the why. The Center for Business Excellence is really bringing that talent base of very seasoned entrepreneurs, business owners, consultants, people who have been there and done that. And, one of the things that I find really interesting, certainly in our community, because very active in it, is that I don't think a lot of business owners think big enough.
That's exactly right. I can't tell you how talented the people are at the universities and the different colleges and the different agencies are such passion that they put into their work. Ann Silver at Join is just amazing with the work she does. But if you add up all of that work, all of the folks do, it's a fraction of what's going to hit us in the face. And as I said, every agency that we've met with over 30 agencies in the last 6 months, every one of them is very good at what they do. Every one of them is passionate. But my goodness, the scale of what is about to hit us is just beyond what most people can do.
This is Cheri Hill. You're listening to The Cheri Hill Show with guest Tom Taormina, who's here representing the Center for Business Excellence, along with some other things we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. So as people are really trying to grasp the magnitude of what is about to hit us, if you're saying 51,000 jobs are going to become available, and why we know that, it's just not the Tesla. I mean, I met a gentleman 2 weeks ago. He's opening a big, giant manufacturing and distribution center. They're going to employ 600 people. Right. They weren't even mentioned anywhere, So there is a lot of activity going on based on what you guys see as strategic thinkers, as program and project managers. What are we missing?
Well, what we're missing is, as you said, strategic planning, looking at things strategically. This community is historically segmented into warehousing, mining, gaming. And each of those segments has their own culture. The culture that these new companies are bringing to the area is totally different than the environment we live in now. I don't want to draw too many parallels to Silicon Valley. I'll get thrown out. I've lived here 19 years. I'm not going anywhere. But if you look back at the history of Silicon Valley when that hit, it created a new environment. We're going to be seeing new people here, and hopefully we're going to be seeing people who are unemployed and unemployable by today's definition transitioned by some of these wonderful organizations that do the workforce development. We're going to develop a Northern Nevada culture that's more like Stanford Research East or perhaps one of the other big centers where on the drawing board we're intending to build a center at the industrial park, the learning center. Not meant to compete with anybody, but it is those strategic thinkers, people who have knowledge like Bob Block to share with everybody. We're going to hopefully raise the bar. All boats rise on the high tide. And that's exactly what the purpose of CBE is to raise the bar.
Well, and again, when you think about the opportunity for, what's ahead, especially for people that are already here, existing business owners.
Absolutely.
It's helping them to further innovate and participate and really think about how they can play in the economic development of what's going on. And so, it's very exciting. However, I'm a logical thinker. And so when you go, okay, well, what are we looking at? About 5 years, right? Tesla up and fully running in 5 years. But during these 5 years, there's a lot going on and more demand. And of course, employers concerned about retaining their good workforce. So who, in your opinion, is leading this ship?
Unfortunately, I don't see a single leader leading the ship. EDAWN is doing an incredible job with their resources of pulling all of this together. Join is doing a wonderful job on the supply side with training people. But the governor promised a trained workforce. And again, in the interviews I've done with more than 30 companies, everyone is scrambling, trying to get their piece put together. But without someone actually driving the ship and keeping score and really reporting back to the governor's office on our progress, we are going to set ourselves up for failure.
Well, because the big unknown is what kind of workforce?
Exactly. That is really the question. Matter of fact, that's what we're working on right now. We are doing interviews because the one question that everybody is asking is, give me one job description. Just one. Just tease me with one job description. And they're not forthcoming. They say, well, there's construction, there's warehousing, there's technical. That doesn't help us define the resources we need. CBE is a not-for-profit. We're privately funded, so we can do a lot of things that the schools and state agencies can't do. So just like we made up our mind to go to the moon, we've made up our mind to make sure that everybody succeeds in this effort. Everyone who wants a piece of this pie is going to be successful.
I like your statement. Let's take a man to the moon.
Yeah, we just did it. Made up our minds and did it.
We'll figure that out, right? All we're trying to do is get someone to pass Fernley. We'll be right back. Exactly. Well, and I can only